Hello everybody, this is Senica Harris and I'm coming to you with another video commentary brought to you by the UrbanWire Media Network, where we shine a light on issues impacting the urban community. Now today I just wanted to do a quick commentary on the entire Jay-Z situation and the backlash that he has received by partnering with Roger Goodell from the NFL, who is the NFL commissioner, and they have merged together to promote social justice. And also, he's also inked a deal with them to kind of collaborate in bringing in talent to the NFL. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about this because Jay-Z last season was just speaking out against the NFL. Now he's wanting to partner with them in order to promote quote-unquote social justice. Now, a lot of people were saying that he was kind of wrong with not partnering with Colin Kaepernick because he was the one that originally brought these issues to light in the last season when it came to the NFL and stuff like that. So a lot of people are really up in arms. There's a lot of celebrities that have came out and that have called him out. You even had social activists such as Sean King that have blasted Jay-Z, Rihanna, and even like Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend has put out on social media that he did not reach out to Colin Kaepernick to, you know, collaborate and kind of spearhead this initiative that they're trying to work upon. Now, a lot of people are also saying that Jay-Z is a businessman, he's a capitalist and stuff like that. And that's very much so. So obviously he's going to get some type of benefit out of this partnership. But my thing is, because we're going to have a conversation about this after I go to these clips. Can capitalism and consciousness coexist with each other? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go to a couple of clips, and then I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary. The first clip we're going to go to is a news clip kind of outlining the situation. And then the second one, we're going to talk about the backlash that he received. And then I'm going to put in a couple of clips from the actual press conference that Jay-Z held, you know, discussing this new venture that they're going to be springboarding this year. So we're going to go to these clips, and then I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary. Hey guys, I just wanted to give a quick update. While I was doing some editing for this particular video, some more developments came up with this story. And I guess it came to light that Jay-Z behind the scenes kind of urged Jermaine Dupri to turn down a similar deal that was offered to him. So at this point, people are really starting to question Jay-Z's credibility. And they're starting to look at him kind of sideways because about a year ago, you were, you know, all against, you know, people working for the NFL, but now you're taking on a similar deal. And I forgot to also mention that he also was one of the main people that was criticizing Travis Scott for performing at the NFL Super Bowl. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So we're going to continue with the video, but I just wanted to let you guys know that those were some new developments and people are really starting to question Jay-Z's credibility.
New partnership in the NFL. Rapper and business mogul Jay-Z, who at times has been critical of the league, now joining forces with the NFL to work on social justice issues and advise on entertainment for events like the Super Bowl halftime show. TJ Holmes is here. Give us the deets.
All right. 70% of NFL players are black. 0% of NFL owners are black. So when the league seemed to blackball Colin Kaepernick and come down on these players for protests, there was widespread criticism, including from Jay-Z. So now as they try to make amends, this partnership with Jay-Z gives them something they didn't have: street cred.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho.
The biggest name in hip-hop is teaming up with the NFL.
Jay-Z and his entertainment company Roc Nation just inked a new deal to become the league's live music entertainment strategist. The partnership will allow him a role in producing and selecting acts for NFL events, as well as contributing to the league's activism arm. The 22-time Grammy winner is expected to consult the league on this year's Super Bowl halftime show. After reportedly trying to talk rapper Travis Scott out of performing at the championship earlier this year. All this comes after the league faced intense criticism of its handling of player protests, led by Colin Kaepernick, who took a knee during the national anthem, hoping to draw attention to police brutality and racial injustice.
I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you.
Last year, Jay-Z bragged about not needing the NFL, but today, in a statement, the rapper says the NFL has a great big platform and it has to be all-inclusive. He went on to say they were willing to do some things to make some changes. We can do some good. The NFL says we don't want people to come in and necessarily agree with us. We want people to come in and tell us what we can do better.
Now, there is no indication that Jay-Z is going to perform at the halftime show. It doesn't mean this now, even though the NFL says, yeah, sure, we love him. Doesn't mean for this deal. Also, no indication that Kaepernick was any part of this partnership. And Jay-Z is, in fact, getting some criticism already. There will be more until we hear details about why you're so critical and supportive of Kaepernick, and now all of a sudden you're in business with the NFL.
Need more details.
Waiting for details.
The NFL preseason is in full swing, but a move that the league made away from the field is grabbing headlines. The NFL reached an agreement with rapper Jay-Z's entertainment company, Roc Nation, to advise the league on entertainment offerings like the Super Bowl halftime show. The deal also puts the company in charge of amplifying the league's social justice program called Inspire Change. The league has been criticized for its approach to social justice because of its relationship with Colin Kaepernick. Wednesday marked 3 years since the former quarterback first started kneeling during the national anthem to protest police brutality and racial injustice. Inspire Change is designed to help combat the issues Kaepernick addressed. But some players aren't happy that Kaepernick is not involved with the program. Safety Eric Reed, who also protested with Kaepernick, tweeted, "The NFL is championing social justice to cover their own systemic oppression in blackballing Colin." He also criticized Jay-Z, saying the rapper, quote, knowingly made a money move with the very people who've committed an injustice against Colin and is using social injustice to smooth it over with the black community.
I think the biggest issue people have is they want to know how you could partner with the league on social justice when Colin Kaepernick, who brought it to the attention of the masses by peacefully protesting against social injustices, still out of a job.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think we take it back. I think that we forget that Colin's whole thing was to bring attention to social injustice, correct? So in that case, right, this is a success, right? This is the next thing, right? Because there's two parts of protesting. You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual say, I hear you. What do we do next, right? So for me, it was like actionable item. What are we gonna do with it? Like everyone heard, and we hear what you're saying, and everybody know I agree with what you're saying. So what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So reach millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess my follow-up would be Roger. It's like a lot of people think the partnership is disingenuous because it's almost like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound because it seems like Colin's being collectively blackballed by the NFL.
Well, I'll just add on to what Jay said, because we talked about this, we've talked about a variety of issues, and I think when we first met, we talked about entertainment and how we do that. But the number one thing we want to is impact, that we can have an impact together and that we can do some really positive things in our communities. And to go to Jay's point, we listened to our players. We understood what our players were saying, and we created a platform of which to help drive change in communities that Colin has raised and that other players have raised. And this partnership, in addition to the entertainment aspect and bringing football and music together, is going to help us make even greater change. And we call it protest to progress, right? We need to make progress as communities. as a country, and that's what we want to try to do. And that's a big part of, I think, what both of us feel this relationship can be.
I love it. We do have to move on.
Hey, Jay, Craig Norman from NBC, just to follow up. So you passed on performing at the Super Bowl, and then you wrapped it out, passing on performing at the Super Bowl. You said the NFL needed you, you didn't need the NFL. What changed? What was the impetus for the partnership?
Yeah, as an artist, I've always held myself in high regard and respect. And if I'm in a position or in a space where I feel like the level of respect that I earn as an artist is being compromised, I'm going to speak about it 10 times out of 10. And then after that, you know, there's conversations that happen. You know, I'm working criminal justice in this very room. We do board meetings here. And Robert Kraft is on the board of that as well. So those conversations started about criminal justice, and he's seeing how serious we were and how dedicated we were to those platforms. And again, like everything else, it slowly evolved, like a conversation as opposed to, yeah, I'm upset with you and I'm never speaking to you again. We're adults at this point, and the only thing, conflict resolution, the only way we're going to move forward is through conversations. And I guess my speaking out brought about a conversation, which brought about a conversation which led to a partnership.
Commissioner, just to follow up, you said that the NFL and Rock Nation have a shared vision of inspiring meaningful social change. What does that social change look like to you? What does it look like to you?
I'll go first. To me, we spent a lot of time talking about our initiative that our players really created and that we support our players with in trying to, what we use the term, inspire change, and to work with them on criminal justice, education, better relationships with law enforcement in the communities. Those types of things that our players have identified as areas we need to make progress on, we need to move forward on. And we'll be supporting that inspire change as probably well as evolving that with our players. I mean, that's something that's going to evolve very quickly, I think.
I think we've passed kneeling. Yeah, I think it's time to go into actionable items.
Do you want people to stop kneeling?
No, I don't want people to stop protesting at all. Kneeling, I know we're stuck on it because it's a real thing, but it's a form of protest. I support protests across the board. We need to bring light to the issue. I think everyone knows what the issue is, and we're done with that. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we were kneeling? Okay, do you know the issue? Yeah, do you know the issue? Yes? We all know the issue now. Okay, next. Where are we moving on next? And I'm not, again, so to be clear for the room, I'm not minimizing that part of it because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward? And Cap doesn't have a job. This wasn't about him having a job. Right? That became part of it. That became part of the discussion. He was kneeling to bring attention to injustice. We know what it is. Now, how do we address that injustice? What's the way forward? Does anyone else anyone have any other suggestions of what's the way forward?
I agree with that. But Commissioner, can Cap get a job?
What?
Can Colin Kaepernick get a job? Is he being
Yeah, any team can sign him right now.
Jay, I know what you're saying with everybody knows what it is now. It's time to move on from kneeling. But Cap did more than just kneel. I mean, he was working with the communities and he was doing stuff beyond just bringing awareness to it. Why don't you bring him into this initiative? Do you plan to involve him?
You have to ask him. I'm not his boss. I can't just bring him into something. He has to, that's for him to say. And you speak about it as if it's in the past tense. You say he did more and he was.
Still doing it,
yeah.
You know your rights can't.
Huh?
You know your rights can't.
Yeah, so he's currently doing action items, right? That's his version of action item. This is our version of the action item. We all do different things and we all work differently for the same results. I don't knock what he's doing, and hopefully he doesn't knock what I'm doing.
Have you talked to him about bringing him into this project?
We had a conversation.
We don't march and protest because we like to march and protest. All we want to do is be free.
From New York. Sean King, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. As you may have seen or heard, yesterday the NFL announced a wide-ranging partnership with Jay-Z and his company, Roc Nation. Now, I'm just going to be completely raw and open about my feelings on this deal. I'm deeply disappointed. I'm deeply disappointed in Jay-Z. I'm deeply disappointed that he formed this partnership with the NFL. I'm deeply disappointed that we learned that he has been privately negotiating this partnership for over a year without ever mentioning a word about the deal to Colin Kaepernick, even though they spoke countless times over the past year. I'm deeply disappointed at several things that Jay-Z said in his press conference with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell yesterday. And I'm definitely disappointed in several things that Jay-Z has said in multiple media interviews. And here's what I know. In our community, we have sacred figures who've grown so loved and so admired that you don't dare critique them publicly, even if it's warranted. In our community, we have some people who are so revered that sometimes we are blinded even to their biggest mistakes. The Obamas are on that level. Oprah is on that level. I think Jay-Z and Beyonce are probably on that level now, such that even if they make a real mistake, it's hard for people to see it. It's definitely hard to criticize them because of just how much people love them. And I think that's where we are right now. But I have to say what I have to say first and foremost, as a personal friend of Colin Kaepernick, as someone who advised him and spoke with him often while he was taking a knee. But I also have to say what I have to say as a historian and as someone who understands the historical significance of what Colin Kaepernick has done and the price he's still paying for it at this very moment. So I'm just going to put all my cards on the table. Colin Kaepernick is in the prime of his physical life and has had his career stolen from him by the NFL. Not a single NFL player, not one, believes that Colin Kaepernick is out of the league for football reasons. The league has over 100 quarterbacks. Half of them are older than him. 2/3 of them have never won a playoff game. 90% of them have never been to a Pro Bowl. Over 95% of them have never taken their team to the Super Bowl. And Colin has done all of those things. He has records in the NFL that stand to this day. It's not just that the NFL banned him once from the league. The NFL is actively banning this man from the league right now. There are teams that need him right now, but not a single one of them will cross that line to do so. He is a kind, soft-spoken, compassionate man. He has never been in trouble a day in his life. He's brilliantly smart, and I don't just say that as a friend. His score on the Wonderlic test for NFL quarterbacks was the highest of his draft. His grades were strong enough to get into Harvard and Yale. He got offers to attend the Ivy League. The man was literally going to grad school in his spare time while he was in the NFL, and yet he's still banned. And I can't get past it. You cannot actively ban the most courageous athlete of our generation from the league while simultaneously saying that you care about social justice or that you care about police brutality and mass incarceration. You can't actively ban the man who sparked this conversation in the NFL in the first place. Ban him basically for sparking the conversation and say that you now want to continue the conversation, but without him, while you continue to penalize him for sparking it. Yesterday was actually the 3-year anniversary of the first day that Colin Kaepernick took a knee in the NFL. And for the NFL to make this announcement on that day, that they are now forming a new partnership with Jay-Z, to me is disgusting. And here's the thing, and I said that I was going to be real. If you are my friend, my true friend, I can't be friends with somebody who has done you all the way dirty. I can't be friends with somebody who literally stole your career if you're my friend. I can't be friends with somebody who is actively doing you wrong. And if you saw the press conference yesterday, Jay-Z and Roger Goodell look like old buddies. They loved each other. We learned this morning that they've met at least 5 times over the past year about this, regularly flying out to meet one another over and over again. This wasn't a deal that was made last week or last month. The New York Times reported today they've been working on the deal for over a year. And I'll close with this thought. I was particularly disgusted to hear Jay-Z say one thing. He said in an interview yesterday, "We're past kneeling." First of all, Jay-Z, you've never kneeled. And saying that we're past it is a slap in the face of brave men like Kenny Stills of the Dolphins and Eric Reid of the Panthers who are still kneeling. They're not past it. So how are you past it? But here's the deal. If any of this really surprises you about Jay-Z, then you haven't been listening to his music. He's a capitalist above all else. He's about profit above all else. And so this hurts, but it's not surprising. This is who he is. Take care, everybody.
What did he say? He said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman."
Yeah, that's who he is.
I was disappointed that Colin Kaepernick settled on that collusion case because I wanted that thing to go to court to show everybody how they colluded to keep him out of the NFL, and they settled.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the whole thing is complex. I spoke to several people who were there at the press conference yesterday, and many of them said that Jay-Z seemed earnest and sincere about wanting to push for social justice. I don't deny that. I don't. And I like many of the things that he's done, and I've supported some of those things. I've appeared in his documentaries. But here's the thing. You can't make a deal on social justice with somebody while they are actively penalizing the primary person that started the conversation, particularly if you call that person your friend. That's not a good deal.
2 questions. When he made that statement, did it mean that we're past kneeling, like we have to do something else? One question. The second question is this a way that Jay-Z feels that he's going to be able to help
Change
Colin?
from within?
And help Colin?
And I'm not answering for Sean, but I think it's just very interesting the fact that many people are saying that he's lied about even talking to Colin about this. Wow. Having said that he had a conversation.
He was dishonest about it. He had not talked to Colin about this deal in any shape, form, or fashion. And later he said, "Oh, I just meant I had talked to Colin Kaepernick, like in general." But he had never mentioned this deal to Colin, not once.
And that makes me suspicious about any conversation about working within in order to affect change, Kim.
If Jay-Z felt good about this deal, he'd have talked to Colin Kaepernick about it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Sean.
Yeah, take care.
All right, we're back. Now, the question that I really want to pose is, can capitalism and consciousness coincide with each other? And my question, and the answer to that question is, I feel like it's a complicated issue and it's a complicated answer. I feel that on the surface, I do feel that capitalism can compromise consciousness at times. But in this situation, I feel that Jay-Z's capitalism can, in the long run, do some positive in the community. Like I mentioned before the video clips, he's obviously a businessman, a very smart, very savvy businessman. He's a billionaire. He knows what he's doing. He's been in the game for a couple decades, and he's made some very wise decisions with his money and in the ventures that he has decided to go into. So I feel that capitalism and consciousness can coincide, but it's just how we use those opportunities. Like, you got to have capital to promote consciousness and further the black agenda or whatever agenda that you are trying to further at that time. So I kind of feel that we got to have capitalism, especially in this society, to get things done. Now, sometimes capitalism can diminish your integrity as well. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about how Colin Kaepernick, he was all for social justice and stuff like that. Him and Eric Reed took that settlement, that $10 million settlement, and people were like saying, like, why are you taking that settlement if you were all about social justice? But I kind of feel like they had to take that settlement because that was his livelihood. You know, he enjoyed playing football and things like that. So I can kind of see that. But sometimes people will sell out. People will take that dollar over integrity. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'm kind of split on it because I kind of feel that Jay-Z should have included Colin Kaepernick, because if it wasn't for Kaepernick, this whole conversation within NFL wouldn't even be taking place. You know, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. You know, only time can tell. We'll see what Jay-Z does. I do think that it's going to be a good thing because they're going to bring more diversity into the NFL. And I will say this, though. I think the NFL realizes the power that the black community has economically, because you have all these players, and I forget the ratio, but they were saying how I believe it's 70% of the NFL is black, and you don't have any owners really. So they realized that they are making money off of black people and these black players. So they feel like they're going to have to invest, and they're going to have to make this situation right, because you had people like Donald Trump that was coming out making the NFL looking bad. And you just had a lot of people that were kind of throwing these players under the bus, throwing them shade. But really, if it wasn't for the black players, you wouldn't have an NFL. And I'm just going to keep it 100. So the NFL knew they had to do something because they're about that capital. They're about that money, and they are not going to tarnish their brand in their in the image of their brand. So I kind of feel that they did this to kind of save face, and they're using black faces to do that. So I want you guys to tell me, what do you feel about this new deal? You know, you have a lot of people that have came out and say, hey, Jay-Z, you a hypocrite because you were talking about all the smack about the NFL and how we need to protest and boycott, but now you sitting at the table eating off these people, and you lining your pockets with money. So get down in them comments. Let me know. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think that we have to look at the bigger picture? Do you feel that there is going to be some good that comes from this? Because as it stands now, we are still going through it in this country as far as black people are concerned. You know, we're still being shot down in the street. We're still being railroaded into the judicial system. There is white privilege. You know, had a conversation with somebody that felt that their white privileges keep them out of judicial system and keep them out of trouble, and they can do whatever they want to and they can get away with it. So there is, you know, disparities as far as the judicial system and how black people are treated differently than white people. So we have to realize that these situations are going to take place regardless if this deal, you know, transpires or not. But the only thing we can do is, like, hopefully there's going to be a small speck of improvement. Maybe that we'll see some more diversity and things of that nature. So until next time, check us out. Check our podcast out, The T and the Urban Wire. You can check us out on Spotify, Google Podcast. Just a lot of platforms we're on right now. Blog Talk Radio, that's our main platform right now. And just be on the lookout for new videos and commentary. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Our Cash App is $UrbanWire. Please, if you can, you know, donate, because we're really trying to build this platform up, and we're really trying to promote black businesses. We're trying to promote a positive message in the community. So until next time, we will catch you soon.